Okay, YouTube land. This is another video on hammer versus hammer. What to use when. And I have another East Wing here. And this one here has been abused. I got this thing. I set it across the vise there. I got this thing. It was laying in the road. And at least 2 cars drove over it. So it's got a little bit of a kink right here in the handle. And the face is supposed to have a waffle cut to it for hitting nails, and the face was already damaged like that when I acquired it. It is bent, but it works still. It's a perfectly good tool, no reason to throw it out. This here is bent, and the handle is bent from striking. This, I believe, was branded as a Craftsman. This was one of my dad's hammers. Yes, the tool I have from my father. And I think it's even got a bend. Yeah, it does, that way. Somebody either dropped something on this, or I got wedged in something, but either that, or that was at the shop I used to have, and my former business partner drove something over it, which is also likely because he was an inconsiderate fool. But this is one of my dad's hammers, and it is bent backwards from striking things. And people will say you can't hit steel on steel like that, or your hammers are going to explode. BS. BS, BS, BS. If that were the case, then all my auto body hammers would have exploded years ago from beating them on steel dollies, because you just have a piece of sheet metal between them, and sometimes you stretch it so thin, or you're working on an edge and you're beating the hammer head on the dolly. It doesn't blow up. And look, they're not fracturing, they're not exploding. This is, you know, like your 10, 12 ounce, I think, hammer head. This is a 20 ounce hammer. This hammer, it's what you call a framing hammer. This is a regular claw. Now, if you look at the angle of the claws, a framing hammer, the claws stick out further. On a traditional claw hammer, they curve back further. This is for extracting nails. This is too. But this is, they're figuring you're going to have to get it in there. And I'm trying to do this, I'm holding the phone here. I've done this number before when extracting nails with another hammer. A nail bar works better if you got one handy. But if you don't, you can use those, and they will extract nails. But these 2 hammers, yeah, they do occasionally pound nails still, but mostly I use these in automotive work. This is a good small hammer that gets in a lot of spaces, and a lot of people end up using a claw instead of a ball peen. Every time I buy a small ball peen, it seems to disappear. And this here, it's, if you don't need a 2-pound hammer's worth of force, or a 3-pound, the 20 ounce framing hammer, and you get a lot of power in a swing with this sucker. It does a lot. Yeah, it's made to drive framing nails in when you're nailing 2x4s together, or you're nailing, you know, joist hangers in to 2x12s, 2x10s, what have you. If you're building a deck or something and you're nailing things together structurally, that's what framing hammers made for. Hammers like this were made for general purpose nail work, and a lot of, you know, the newer ones they went to fiberglass and a composite fiberglass because of overstrikes here on the hammer head. These old metal ones, they ding up and then they would start to weaken and break off. Then they went to that fiberglass and it weakens there and breaks off, and the composite fiberglass, same thing. Now with this East Wing here, you see that's not going to happen. Because that is the same steel as the hammerhead, is just brought down in a very long shank. Kind of like that engineer's hammer. And this says USA. It says nylon on the handle. It's an E322SM. Like I said, I did not purchase this. I've purchased a couple of these brand new before, and they've walked away. I found this laying in the road, well used and abused. Probably fell out the work box of somebody's truck, you know, a contractor's truck or something. I've seen them hanging off the bumpers before, because they will work their way loose if you don't have them secured when you go down the road. And like I said, 2 cars already run over it. Probably whoever lost it had no idea where they lost it. And when you lose tools on the road, if you don't go right back and get them, they're fair game for anybody that spots them. That's just the way it works. Yeah, it's pretty much, if you don't go back right away and get a tool that you dropped on the road, you've abandoned it. Anyways, that's all for now. Well, maybe not. I gotta check on these burgers. Oh, that grill's kicking it in temperature. That's why. I need to slide these over on indirect for a minute now that they've browned on that side. Yeah, I'm making myself a half-pound hamburgers for lunch. That's a little bit hard to see now that it's not the sun. I split on top. That still has a few minutes on that side. I generally go 10 minutes per side on these, then I flip them over. Then a couple minutes, you know, again. But I made 7 patties out of 3 pounds, so they're a little bit under ½ pound each. But oh, that's going to be so much better than what you get at these fast food places, and so much tastier because there's seasonings inside there: salt, pepper, garlic. And then I like mine spicy, so I put in a bit of my dry rub too. That way it's got some good kick to it. And that's cheap ground beef that comes in a tube, so you kind of got to spice it up to get the extra taste. Okay, later YouTube land.